Hello, my name is Adam, and welcome to the Lead Realm. You join me today on a little bit of a different video from normal, because I'm currently on my way into London to play in a 4th edition narrative fantasy campaign. It's a one-day event where me and a group of other like-minded individuals have dusted off our models and are going to put them on the field in an ever-increasing, points-based narrative campaign. So, why don't you join me in seeing how the day goes? I'll take you through each of my 3 lists for the 3 games, summarise each of the battles, and then give my final thoughts at the end of the day. The scene of today's event is the Bad Moon Cafe in Holloway Road, London. It's a warm day in June, and 10 old school gamers have gathered here to push some lead around. Each of the battles has its own unique rules and restrictions which must be taken into consideration when building your list. Here you can see the restrictions for Battle 1, and here is the list that I decided to take. It's a small list comprised of primarily 2 small units of plague monks, each flanked with their own small unit of censer bearers. At the back, we have a slightly larger unit of Skaven slaves, and again a slightly larger unit of giant rats with packmasters. The 2 characters that I've chosen are a plague priest and a warlock engineer. The reason for the warlock engineer is that it isn't possible to get a magical wielding plague priest within the restrictions, so here Lord Skrolk is a stand-in model for that warlock engineer. We start with the deployment for Game 1. In this scenario, the deployment is done hidden, and the unique scenario enables each army to deploy anywhere they like within their assigned quarter. You can see that I put my army as close as possible to the dwarf quarter so that I would be able to charge straight in. However, the dwarves decided to take a more reserved approach, deploying towards the back of their quarter to give them as much chance as possible to hail down some bullets and crossbows onto the Skaven lines. Turn 1 comprised mainly of me marching forward and the dwarf player deciding to hold back, so there wasn't really much to show here, but you can see my force has marched forward and is ready to face the dwarves. In turn 2, the dwarves started to fan out a little bit, but were hampered by the rules about line of sight being reduced, so weren't able to take many shots. In the Skaven turn 2, I decided to spread out a little bit to split my army between the 3 units of dwarves. The idea in this scenario was to hold as many quarters as possible. Perhaps I should have held something back in my starting quarter, but elected to move everything forward. During turn 3, the Skaven decided to push the assault, with the slaves charging into the middle and the censer bearers charging to the right. The results of these combats were, predictably, that the slaves lost and decided to flee, whereas the censer bearers killed a couple of dwarves and lost one in return, with neither choosing to flee from that combat. During the dwarfs' turn, they decided to shoot the remaining units that were not in combat and felled a few giant rats and a couple of plague monks. Turn 4 saw the remaining Skaven units join the battle. The packmasters and giant rats on the left-hand side charged into the dwarves, with the packmasters being taken down in the resulting volley of shots. The plague monks in the centre charged in along with their censer-bearer brethren. The results of these combats were that the giant rats were beaten and chased off, whereas the plague monks and censer-bearers in the centre, as well as the censer-bearers on the right side, thoroughly beating the dwarves in combat. As a result, the plague monks decided that they were probably better off not charging in, and instead decided it was probably better for them to try and hold the right quarter for the victory points. At the end of the battle, Skaven held 2 of the 4 quarters, whereas dwarves held 1, which was a 2-1 victory to the Skaven and enabled them to take 2 tactical points into Battle 3. Battle 2 was an increase to 1,500 points. The only restrictions here were that there were no level 4 wizards allowed and no magical items worth more than 50 points. The Skaven force is basically just an increase in numbers over the previous one. The units of plague monks have been increased in size, as have the censer bearers. The Skaven slaves and giant rats are also larger than before. There are a couple of new units, however. A unit of 3 rat ogres with packmasters, and 2 Skaven assassins have joined the fray. For characters, we have 2 plague priests, a warlord, and a champion who will sit with the rat ogres. Battle 2 was a fairly standard pitched battle affair, with no special or unique rules regarding deployment or first turns. My opponent here brought a lovely mixed Empire army, with various units such as knights, huntsmen, swordmen, and even a hellblaster. Empire took the first turn and advanced their units towards the Skaven line. The hellblaster took a couple of rats out in the shooting phase, but magic was mostly ineffective. The Skaven responded during their turn by also moving up towards the Empire line, with the slaves at the front trying to bait in a charge from the knights, which they would probably flee from. During turn 2, the Empire charged into the slaves, who predictably fled, leaving the knights exposed in the centre of the table. During the shooting phase, the Hellblaster and the handgunners on the hill reduced the censer bearers' numbers down to only 2, while in the centre of the table, the remaining Empire force all walked forward. In response, in Skaven turn 2, the Plague Monks took the opportunity to charge into the knights along with the 2 remaining censer bearers. In the centre, the other unit of censer bearers charged in against the Empire detachment, who I believe fled and were quickly caught and run down by the censer bearers. During combat, the Empire hero and the Plague Priest squared off into a fight to the death, with the Empire Knight actually taking the advantage and, despite losing a couple of wounds, managing to save them and quickly dispatch the Plague Priest. However, his knightly brothers weren't so fortunate. Many of them died to the noxious vapours of the censer bearers, with a few others dying to their flails and the frenzied attacks of the Plague Monks. The result of this combat was that the knights fled and were quickly chased down by the Plague Monks, who cut the remaining knight and the hero down as they ran away. Empire turn 3 was a rather quick affair, with the spearmen charging into the Plague Monks in the centre, and the Hellblaster using its remaining shots to completely decimate the censer bearers who were in the centre of the board. Combat was predictable, with the Plague Monks cutting down a few and receiving some casualties, but neither side taking a decisive victory. Skaven turn 3 was more of the same, with most of the units approaching into the battlefield, getting ready to charge in the next turn. However, during the magic phase, Plague being cast with total power unfortunately completely wiped out the Empire center line, bringing a swift end to the game in turn 3, as the Empire player had very little left on the board that could provide meaningful impact to the Skaven lines. This resulted in a victory for the Skaven. They held the center of the board, which contained the magical source, and gave them a wizardry point for use in the final battle. Battle 3 is where it all comes together. A massive 3,000 points to spend on your army, with no limitations. For the Skaven, once again I expanded each of the units. The Plague Monks are now both huge, and the Censer Bearers are all of the models that I currently own. There are now 3 units of Skaven Slaves. The Giant Rats are now a huge unit, 60 strong. 8 Rat Ogres and 2 units of Clan Rats have also joined the fray. The characters have also been upgraded, with a Grey Seer atop Screaming Bell joining the big unit of Plague Monks. There are also 2 other Plague Priests, a Warlord, and the Champion. Battle 3 was also where we were able to use our tactical points and wizardry points. My wizardry point was spent on a free dispel, and my tactical points, one I would use to cancel one of my opponents, and the other would be used to gain some additional movement in turn 1. My opponent here is playing Wood Elves, a large mix of different Wood Elf units, and 2 scary looking treemen. All of my thoughts were how I was going to put on single wounds onto these treemen before trying to break them in combat. The Skaven took the first turn, and predictably marched everyone towards the Wood Elf lines. The Wood Elves retaliated by firing volleys of various arrows into each of the Skaven units, whittling down their numbers. The Way Watchers hung out in a forest in front of the Rat Ogres, taunting them to try and charge into the trap-laden woods. In turn 2, the Skaven continued their advance, whilst being continually peppered with arrows from all sides. However, their overwhelming numbers meant they were probably going to reach the Wood Elf lines with enough force to do some damage. The treemen loomed over the Skaven force, threatening to put quite a significant roadblock on their advance. Back with the Way Watchers, the Rat Ogres decided to take the bait and charged into the forest. They lost some wounds to the traps, but were able to make contact with the Way Watchers, squashing them in the process, whilst the treemen walked forward in order to stop the Skaven advance. In retaliation, the Skaven decided to charge straight into the wooden behemoths, whilst a few other units prepared for counter charges from the Wood Elves in following turns. All the while, the hail of arrows continued to fall, thinning out the Skaven numbers. Through a combination of magical banners, impact hits, and a lot of luck, the Skaven were able to take care of both treemen. The following turn saw the remaining Wood Elves start to get stuck in trying to whittle down the Skaven numbers. Some Glade Riders on the left flank charged into the Clan Rats, whilst the War Dancers continued their rampage through the right hand side. However, in the end, the Skaven numbers were simply too much for the Wood Elves to make any meaningful impact against. At the end of turn 5, when all was said and done, it was a slight victory to the Skaven. This was mainly due to the Wood Elves not being able to take most of their units below 50% casualties, and thus not receiving full victory points for the damage that they were causing. Once all of the battles were completed and the victory points totted up, I'm pleased to say that the Alliance of Evil were able to take home a minor victory, and I'm happy that my Skaven were able to contribute to this. What do I think of the day in general? Well, I got to bring my models out of storage and push them around some lovely tables with some like-minded grognards. Lots of fun and laughs were had by all, and in the end, that's really the most important thing. I'm looking forward to doing it again later on in the year with the same group, and hopefully then I'll be able to bring a different army. So, if you're interested in seeing that, why not stick around? I'm also very interested to hear what you think about my first battle report. I know it wasn't as in-depth or as detailed as others. If you've got any tips or things that you would like to see done differently in the future, please do let me know in the comments. But for now, it's time to pack up the models and head back home. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and remember, until next time, stay old school and long live the lead.